Welcome to the AI Lab Unfiltered podcast, where we take a deep dive into, what do we take a deep dive into, Pete?
AI.
There we go. I am your host, Drew Veach from BizStream. I am joined by my lovely co-host here, Mr. Pete Terryn from NuWave.
Thank you for having me on your podcast, Drew.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you could be a cool assistant. So we are in the Studio Jefferson area, Studio Jefferson in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Beautiful studio. We are powered by ThinkTank Thought Leadership. That is our podcast producer team that we have here. It is a great team. They handle production, they handle editing, they handle all our social, they handle all of the business and creative end of it. Really, Pete and I just show up and talk. That's really all they do. And they handle all this, all the lighting. I mean, they just make us look really, really good. If you're thinking about doing a podcast, even if you're just thinking about doing a podcast and you want to talk to somebody about it, you can hit us up. I'm always advocates of it, or talk to ThinkTank Thought Leadership.
Yeah, I think about it two ways. One, if you want to be cool, have your own podcast. And two, if you're going to do your own podcast, do it with these guys.
And you will be cool having your own podcast.
We are, right?
Kind of. So today, I'm super excited about this episode. I know I say that in front of a lot of episodes, but we're going to be talking about AI agents and how they're transforming business.
They freaking love agent talk.
So I know. This is going to be hard to contain in just 45 minutes that we're going to do this. But we have Mr. Devon Bleibtrey. He is the CTO for Fetch.ai. Devon, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really, really excited to be here. Awesome to be jumping in on agents, and happy to be chatting about not only those business AI agents, how you can get those out onto marketplaces and interacting with other agents, and how you can service consumers that also are now having agents that are representing them on the digital economy. Super stoked.
Now, let's kind of define this a little bit, because we talk a lot about AI agents. We are all very familiar with it. There's different levels of people. There's people that are programming them, that are watching the show, and there's people that are going, what the hell is an AI agent? And it's different than AI automation as well. Do we want to, let's define that out a little bit? Maybe?
Yeah, I think we should just have kind of a framework to work from.
Yeah. I mean, and I think diving into that then would be, how does an AI agent compare to like an AI assistant? So you are common with ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, ASI1, some of these other sort of assistants out there for you that are going, and you go chat with them, and it's more towards that consumer persona. See businesses and individuals starting to utilize them to integrate with their operations, but they are more generic purpose as opposed to a specific sort of function or execution that they're trying to do. Once you start getting into that and personalizing, giving it a personality, giving it a set task, and orchestrating those, becomes more of that agentic technology is sort of how we look at it.
Versus like AI automation, where it's very linear. We were just talking about one before the show aired right now, that before we started recording, about how I have a automatic pull from the video, go to step 2, go to step 3, go to step 4, and create a social post. Step 5, deploy onto LinkedIn. It's very linear. It's very task oriented versus an agent where it's more generative, using generative AI to where it thinks up a lot of the step, and it makes it more, I don't want to say organic. What's the word I'm looking for?
Dynamic.
Yes, dynamic. Makes it way more dynamic of what it can do. It seems like less steps too, because it's using generative AI versus just a set task to the next.
Yeah, and I think the workflow managers that you see coming out, as well as the ones that have existed, bringing in agents to go and facilitate that. To your point, you're sort of injecting those agents into those workflows now, having them go and do something like generating the social post. Hey, here's your personality representing me, my business. Go and take this audio file or this video, craft it to be for Instagram, and go and package all that up. You used to have thousands of steps to go and do that, or someone in the loop to go and facilitate it. So it is amazing how it goes and simplifies that down to, here's my agent, go and stick it in that workflow.
Exactly. And in my experience with it too, I'm not a developer. I have no development background. I have no major technical background. I've always been on the business end of it, or selling it, or on the solution finding end of it. And building in like a make.com or an N8N, it's radically simpler now. Don't get me wrong. But I still feel like you need to know some of the terminology that's in there. You still need to understand sort of the code basics, if you will, with a lot of that terminology. Like what's a get versus what's an ask, there's certain terminology that it still does use in there. Using ChatGPT to help me understand what those terms are was a lot easier. So I could still do it myself and versus going to the developers and saying, hey, I got stuck. I don't understand what this means. I could still figure it out. But I just was interesting that it kind of gets me 80% of the way there. There's still that nugget that it isn't solving for yet, or isn't making it the I always call it the iPhone sexy version of it, to where it's for me just dummy proof, I guess.
Well, and that's I totally agree. We end up running into that where we're using Make to do prototyping, to rapidly get different experiments out and figure out how does it help out a business, or how can I go and create a pre-compiled business agent for marketing that has some predefined workflows that can go and execute, and you can rapidly get that out. I mean, to your point, no developers need to be involved. Someone that's tech savvy, that has a business background, can go and say, here's my use case, let me go get this out. And then if you get traction with that, hey, now we can go and bring that into sort of a back-end deployment that has a little bit more rigor to it. But where we're finding an interesting sort of point on that is, if you aren't tech savvy, if you're a small business owner, you don't have a lot of time on your hands, it can still be too much overhead. And so how can you use agents to go and wrap those sort of workflows or those things to give to those business owners, as opposed to them having to go figure out, how do I go set up the Instagram sort of thing? An agent, I don't even know what an AI agent is.
Yeah, exactly.
I just started using ChatGPT and I'm chatting with that and it's helping me, but how do I transition into this huge ecosystem that's so rapidly evolving and keeping up with it? It's challenging.
It is. It's interesting because I think you're in the same mindset too, where you've done it so many times and you know the theories behind it, you know what the verbiage is, and you know how to use it. Where someone comes up and says, "Oh yeah, I use ChatGPT a little bit, but I'm trying to do this marketing thing." Oh, all you need to do is build it in N8N and have these steps. And you kind of take it for granted that the level that we're at, where we've been using it for a while, and then you go, "Oh wait, yeah, that's right. That's why we sell this service. It's because you don't know how to do this, and we can get you up to speed."
Yeah, you think about that can be a stumbling block for a business owner if they're not AI, not up on what AI is or what agents are. It's almost better for you to not even talk about AI and just say, I have a business solution for you.
Right.
And don't worry about how it works in the back end. There's some cool shit happening here, but it will solve some of these. Tell me what your problems are, and I will construct a solution for that. Because when you start bringing AI agents in, then people are like, oh, it totally changes their framework. I had this happen to me, so it's like fresh in my mind. I have a client who I know we could help them, but I brought up AI, and he's like, I don't think we're ready for AI yet. If I had said, are you ready for me to solve your problem yet? He would have said, yeah, I'm ready for you to solve that problem. But because it was AI, it's like, I'm going to push back away from the table a little bit. And I was like, dang it. I got to change my approach. Because sometimes when you lead with AI, because it's fun to talk about, for the right person or for the certain people, that doesn't resonate.
Right. And then 100%. You got the opposite side where it's like, I want to use everything AI.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't necessarily need to.
Yeah.
It's just a tool in there, and there's multiple tools that are in that toolbox.
Your automation example is that you used AI to create the workflow, but there's no AI in the workflow. It's just automation that's triggered off of the previous step. There's no AI in there saying, hey, you should probably do this and go over here, or it's not summarizing content and then posting it. Like, it's just straight up like, I need you to post this video on this social channel. That's just automation.
Yeah.
But you could tell somebody that it was AI automation and they'd probably pay more for it because you used AI in the sentence. But that wasn't, there's no AI in the automation.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to that of you used to have a human in the loop, where now instead of inserting a Fiverr resource that you go off and contract to do your Instagram post, you're inserting an agent that you get off a different marketplace to go and help you facilitate that. So we see the same thing when we're going out and talking with businesses. The second you start talking about AI, especially AI agents, then they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yep.
I don't even know what AI is yet. What's this new thing that you're talking about to me?
Yeah.
So how are you? Let's talk about that a little bit. Like, how are you? What are you seeing in those business challenges to where you're getting? Because in one sense, you're trying to get them up to speed with it to then adopt a platform or to use it. How are you working with companies to do that?
So we're doing similar to what we're talking about on the automation side of packaging those up, where there's common use cases that these businesses are running into that are very common. Cold open to go and reach out to customers or contacts or podcasts or these other places. Influencers tend to run into that challenge commonly, where they're spending tons of time going out and researching what are some people I could have onto my podcast. What would I go and send them an email? How do I send them a LinkedIn message? How do I get in contact with them? And they're doing that, their producer's doing that, or someone is spending a lot of time and effort and energy doing it. So going and using tools like Make or N8N to go and compile these workflows, these automations, and bringing in not only the agents into those workflows to help facilitate it, but then giving the tools and the interfaces where you're not really knowing what an agent is. You're just giving a personality of what's your business. What do you do? Who are you? Go and upload some YouTube videos of you. Go and upload your Instagram account. Go and upload details about you. And we simplify that process so that your agent that's representing you as your marketing agent can be easily inserted into an existing workflow that's already predefined. So to you as the influencer, you're basically hooking up your existing content using AI behind the scenes to go and process that, generate personalities, preferences, details about you, and then inserting that into that workflow and basically temporalizing that workflow to go and be reused across those for businesses. So that's sort of the solo entrepreneur type of persona that we support, but very similar things for local restaurants and businesses that are going and saying, hey, I just need to put my hours together for my employees. And putting that together takes me time every week. How can I automate that? Okay, what hours are you open? What's your sheet that you have of this? And having predefined workflows. So very similar to what we're talking about, but as opposed to bespoke workflows that are a little bit more complex or may go and service other use cases, sort of creating those templates and then helping them to create their agent without knowing that it's an actual agent that they're building.
Interesting.
So if I'm one of your customers, am I going to a catalog and I'm kind of scrolling through and they're in different categories? Like I need something for timekeeping or whatever. Then you've got maybe a couple different models there for different use cases, and I just kind of pick that out and now it's mine. Is that how?
Pretty much.
Okay.
And no different models really workflows or prepackaged catalog of things it can do, integrations and workflows. And so to you as the consumer, you understand what a workflow is. You understand what a integration is or at least a connection, and can say, okay, I have an Instagram, I have a YouTube. Okay, I've connected those up. Not only are we able to go and pull from them, but then also go push out to them on your behalf. And then you sort of are coaching them along that path of first going and bring the data in, show value, and then go and get confidence that I can go post. Because the other thing we start running into is, why would I trust this AI? I hardly trust the intern or the contractor that I went and hired and they screwed up my socials, or I have a very set persona that I want to get out there. Yeah. So they're not always willing to go and hand the reins off to an AI that they're like, I don't know how much confidence I have in this thing, which is another barrier of entry on top of the concern I don't get what AI is.
Yeah. Does it always start with a from a consultative approach, or do some people sometimes bypass that and go right to the catalog and like, I want that workflow?
Yeah, we recently updated the onboarding, and we've seen a lot more people jumping right in and getting to the workflow. Previously, we were front loading a lot of the AI jargon and sort of populating it, and a lot of people drop off and go, I don't know what I'm setting up here. Now having those words that resonate with them seem to make a big impact. That they going from basically hand holding each partner coming through to, oh, I can get in. Oh, there's workflows here. Oh, it goes and helps me with posting out to my social, or it helps me with this cold open. Cool, that's a problem I have. Click. Now I'm seeing these things happen for me. And with those workflows, we tend to also have sort of drafts that come out. So it's not just immediately going out. You still have yourself in the loop in the initial pieces, and then being able to hand it off completely to the full automation, as opposed to starting off with that, which also starts to help build that confidence that, oh, here's the draft to the email. Didn't send the email. I'm going to go and send that out, maybe tweak it a bit, but then getting to, I want to activate this on a routine weekly basis and just go and do it and see what comes back.
That's a cool approach. So you got the training wheels on in the beginning, right? And once they stop being wobbly, then you can, okay, you can trust it now. Let's go. Yeah. And then kind of see what happens. That's cool.
Yeah. And that then ends up being a big execution for them on how much time they end up saving. And then they start using more and more of those workflows. And the interesting piece on that is to what you guys were laying out is, okay, so now you have these workflows, you have these agents. We see some customers start going, okay, how do I go get the custom workflows to go and add into this? And that's where we work with partners to go and say, okay, help these individuals build their custom workflows, listed in theirs as sort of the quote unquote enterprise, but really just an advanced business scenario, and try to service their specific niche, which aren't covered by the generic templates.
That's cool. I think that's a great way to approach it, because you don't have to then keep recreating the wheel for people when you're like, oh, I've already built this. Just go get it off the website. Right. But now you've got a use case that falls outside that we know that we can solve for you. So let's go do something that's more custom. That's really cool.
Do you have any, you don't have to drop names, but do you have any standout cases of where you guys have built that to go, oh gosh, this radically changed how they did something?
Yeah, I think two that stick out are two influencers we work with. So Coco out of Austin, who we've helped engage with her community and basically replicate herself to go and interact with this growing community of individuals, and basically as a replica of her. And then she has some of these workflows executing to bring in like specials and different things going on in town, that she has partners in town that she historically had been manually reaching out to, now is able to do that automatically, and not only get updates to herself so she knows what's going on, but also out to her community, and has automated that entire workflow utilizing the technology. Another is a podcaster, Taylor, that is in the political sphere, which is utilizing that cold open technology to go and facilitate, or workflow to go and reach out to different contacts and sort of drive those incoming inbound leads. And what we're working with her right now on is actually having her AI that represents her, similar to the Coco use case, that it can actually interact with her people on her show. So she has her AI, they go stand up their AI, and now those two AIs can actually debate and converse while they're doing the podcast, to give some of additional content to watch, check out, and see how combative her AI can be. She's very boisterous and passionate, and it's fun to see the different interactions that two agents can have interacting with each other, which is utilizing our collaboration or agent collaboration technology.
That's cool.
Yeah, I want to talk about that more. I need to ask some clarifying questions, because I don't think I fully understand what you just said.
Yeah.
Because I have a vision in my head of like Coco, who I don't know, but also don't let me forget, you need to figure out how you can help this podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do we do that?
Yeah. But so is Coco and two agents that are live, and they're having a live debate between the three of them?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So imagine each of us go and stand up our own personal AI. So as we're taking these users through the journey, right, we're getting a bunch of data about them and not only building their business AI, but also that replica that can go and chat with customers. Because one of the main use cases from the small business owners is, hey, I just want a chat bot that can go and interact with my customers, and it just needs to know what my business is about, what kind of services I provide. And we're working with local businesses like All Artworks to help them build out one of these agents to go and chat with artists and consumers about what art pieces do you like, and sort of lower that barrier of entry for a consumer who is trying to look for a local art piece, but is like, I don't know what kind of art I like, and having more of a curated experience for their search where they have an AI that knows what kind of art they have, what's recent, and enabling their customers to go and interact with. So to that point, building out that replica of you, and we have that same thing for personal AIs. So each of us would have our own AI, and we go put them into a room, and they start chatting based on our personalities. And we can give them an objective to debate. We could have given them an objective of like, go and discuss AI and start chatting about what you think about it. You can also go talk about, politics of the day or whatever
crazy.
it is. And you can start watching what their interactions are as they're sharing content, pulling things, and acting like you. And then
Only
be
smarter.
able to give them.
I mean, it is. You got a huge powerhouse behind it. That's interesting.
You use the term agent orchestration. So what I'm hearing you describe is two AIs talking to each other, which we've seen. You can go on YouTube and watch, somebody's got, two phones and they're sitting by each other.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like what you're talking about though.
Yeah, this is more of a intentional collaboration. And so it comes out of a couple use cases that we're trying to service with the sort of more advanced features. So after you get out of those workflows, we get into, okay, I have my AI now, and there's this emerging ecosystem of AIs. And the assumption is that every individual is going to have an AI representing them in the coming couple of years. And that will all be sort of consciously or unconsciously training that AI that represents us on the digital world. And so for these businesses and influencers, having an AI that can interact with those other AIs on their behalf, just like we're building a website in the 90s that people could go and find online, now we're building AIs that people can go and interact with. But having that capability, now you can have your AI that is your business AI go and find consumer AIs that want to purchase something, or want to go and have an experience, or go and do something where they want additional detail.
It's like a whole nother ecosystem at that point.
That's our assumption that we're getting to, and we're starting to see the building blocks
Makes
be
sense,
there.
though, yeah. Because everything is very personalized, so then my AI is out there looking for that. In the meantime, my assistant, essentially, that is me, that represents me, is looking. It's in that whole sphere now. That's interesting.
And same thing with, so you want a new pair of shoes, so you'd go normally out to Google, and the websites would show up, and you'd have promotions and other things going on, and that's cognitive load on you trying to figure out, where should I go and buy my Adidas sneakers? Should I go to Amazon? Should I go to Adidas? Should I go to should I go to the store down the street and buy it? So your AI can know that, hey, you're up for a new pair of shoes, or you need a new pair, or it's your birthday coming up, or whatever. Let me keep an eye out for these things. And other businesses can go and say, hey, we offer shoes. Which agents are looking for shoes? Oh, they are. Let me get you a promotion. Why don't you come and buy that from me? Yeah, that looks good. And have those interactions going on.
So
Interesting.
The store representative agents are going to be fighting for your business with your agent without you knowing about it. You just have to know that you want shoes. And then you can just kind of walk away from there. And maybe when your agent is really embedded in you, it knows your budget, right?
Correct.
Like it's probably already built you a shoe budget for the year.
It knows your style.
Yep.
It knows. So if you say, I need a new pair of tennis shoes.
Yep.
or
So you don't have
running
to
shoes
say
or-
like, don't spend more than $200 on these shoes, because it knows what your shoe budget is, because it created that at the beginning of the year. Like, here's your shoe budget, here's your food budget, here's your toilet paper budget, whatever it is. And so it doesn't even have to ask you. And if you're wearing AI enabled glasses, when you look at your shoe, it's gonna be like, dude, your shoes look like shit.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get you a new pair, and then you
Yes.
just show up, right? Wow.
Yeah. So that's more of the business. The other one we get to the personal is, how do I spend more time offline? So if I have a personal AI that knows about me and I have my glasses on and all of these other things, how can it then help me in my social life? And so my family, they all have their own personal AIs. My friends all have AIs. So when we're planning the weekend, our AIs can collaborate and go, oh, you guys went out to this bar last week. Pete's a vegan. Let's make sure that we went to the barbecue joint last time. Let's make sure we keep him involved. Let's go to this place. And this is where those chats between those AIs in those rooms go on, that enable those AIs to sort of dig in on, what are your preferences? What do you like? And that allows us to have some level of what kind of data gets shared, what information is going around, but then get that outcome of just a calendar indication comes up of, here's where you guys should go tonight, with an invite out to everyone in the crew. Or if you're going on a family vacation down to Disney, all the combative things of, I want to do this, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Allow the AIs to go and do a lot of that bulk work, so that when the suggestions are coming out, it's much more curated to you, as opposed to the generic, hey, what did Travel or TripAdvisor say to ChatGPT when you go and ask it? And being able to bring all of that together from everyone within your sort of nucleus.
I would want mine, because I'm the dad, I want mine to trump whatever anybody else wants. I want that fed into my agent or my family orchestration. You and I could use this, Drew, because we've been trying to get
100%.
together with our wives for dinner for like 2 years now and still haven't fucking done it.
Yes.
We need this. So, okay, this is could you just help us out? We just want to have dinner together.
It's a common thing. I mean, and like we were talking about at the outset, we spend so much time on our phones. We're trying to figure out, in this next iteration of technology, how do we use that to help us get back to reality, and not suck us more into the phones and
Right.
disconnect us, and how do we create these connections that are real as opposed to just the digital.
Which is like the exact opposite of Facebook. This is going to connect everybody. Everybody's going to be, and it's all phony, and you're going to spend all your day on Facebook.
And it's hard. I mean, the bots are in there. It's very engaging. The dopamine hits. There's sort of a lot of different things coming out of. We've had AI for decades. At this point, we're calling the generative AI now, and then AI agents. But Facebook and social media, for better or worse, have had that technology to go and do deep thinking on you and understand your preferences. Google does an amazing job on it as well, and just trying to reuse that to get you out. But yeah, there's a ton of products and highly used products to go and chat with digital AIs that are companions, and people love having those. There's certain ones that fill a gap emotionally for individuals that help them out. There's others that go and suck them in and abuse them and use them. And it's a tough thing that we're going to have to tackle over the coming years for sure.
Can we go back to the shoe example? I want to have another thought on that. So right now, if we were doing the shoe thing, because agents can go look at websites and they can scrape sites and all that kind of stuff, but they're going to a website that's built for human consumption. Are these companies? Do you know? And I haven't. What you're describing, I've just starting to hit my radar. But are companies starting to build data that's more digestible by agents, so that it's easier for that agent to go to Nike versus Reebok or whatever, because they built a more agentic friendly shopping experience?
Yeah. So there's a couple tools out there today. I believe it's LM Text, that sort of is a robots.txt replacement file or additional file to help a LLM understand the website and understand what capabilities and things it has. Agent to agent or A to A framework from Google, being able to have sort of a show card of your agent and its capabilities to be discovered. There's MCP, Model Context Protocol, which is out of Anthropic, on enabling you to go and basically wrap an API. So if you have a Shopify site as an example, making it real easy for that to get ingested into other AI agents and for them to visualize what's going on. So you could imagine, not only did I find, or your agent found your proper shoe store to go and interact with, and it brought that up to you, but then it uses that shop uses Shopify, and they then present sort of the checkout indicator into your chat interface, so that you skipped all the searching and finding, but it is still a human in the loop that gets presented to you. So there's a lot of technology coming out for that, and you're seeing those pieces not only be used by the LLMs, but going back to the workflow automation piece of, if I'm in Make or N8N, I can go and tap into basically any agent that supports A to A and bring that into my workflow with a snap. And now all of a sudden I have an access to all of these different pre-existing agents that can help me out in my workflows. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out to start facilitating and enable better discovery, as well as better interaction between the agents, and defining how do we have interoperability, because as we know in tech, one of the hardest challenges to overcome is, everyone sort of has their siloed gardens, and then how do we interoperate between a Google agent and a Facebook agent and a Fetch.ai agent and one of these other, LangChain or LangGraph agent. How do you get them all interacting effectively in a similar way that we have, a standard web protocol that allows you to visualize websites and move that data around?
Cool. That it is just a different way of experiencing the internet, because I don't enjoy shopping online. I would enjoy telling my agent that I need a new pair of shoes and having it go do all that for me. Some people like that. They like the scroll and doing all that. I can't stand that, but I like that's where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's other opportunities with localizing some of these things as well, that we focus heavily on. How do we get traffic to the local storefronts and help empower local communities with AI? And I think having those opportunities where your storefront can be proactively going out as opposed to a passive participant, as a website has been, gives them more opportunity to go and flag that, get something in front of you and be like, hey, if you come into the store today, I'll give you an extra 25% off.
Yeah.
So it sort of helps to lower the barrier on competition between these stores.
I buy a lot of stuff off reverb.com, music stuff, and guitar parts, that type of thing. And it reminds me of, if I scroll through, I find a product I want, you can like it, you can heart it. And I do it now strategically, because it's like, oh, I want to buy that part, but I'm not going to spend the $100. I heart it. That information goes back to the person, the vendor selling it. And they go, oh, this person likes it, I'm going to give them 10% off. And every time I buy into it. So now I just strategically do it, going, oh, if I like this product, within 2 days, he's going to give me another offer of, oh, you get 10% off if you buy it now. That's what it reminds me of. And it makes sense. It makes sense because it's an enticing thing. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm looking for these shoes. My agent's out there looking for it. Oh, this guy's looking for that. I have that. Here it is. I'll cut you a deal, or here's a coupon or whatever.
Everybody likes a deal.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to get scary, because they're hacking your brain. Right, because it knows, it's starting to figure out where, because with convenience comes a cost. Like to get that convenience, we have to give up a lot of information. And these ad agencies and these large businesses are experts at figuring out exactly what trips are triggers, and it's just going to get that much better. So if they know that, I'd just give them 10% off, no problem. Raise the price of everything in our store 10%. We'll give everybody 10% off when they click.
That's the Kohl's method. Yeah. Everything's always on sale. What's the original price? I don't know. It's never on sale.
It's never had one.
but it works.
Yeah,
it works.
It does.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point. I mean, we in the U.S. tend to choose convenience over privacy or sort of security on it, and we're willing to give up a lot of data. There's a lot of conversations in the EU right now on, do you want to be taking that approach? What kind of privacy do you have for the consumer? How do you use decentralized data stores to not have one central party sort of own all of the information? And how do you go and use that to help with models that get generated to do specific niches in industries. Automotive is a big one where they're trying to figure out how do you have shared pools of data as opposed to one OEM or one main manufacturer has access to the big trove, the treasure trove, and then is basically wins the battle because of the data they have, as opposed to having competition on, okay, data should be more shared in some way, anonymized, brought together, but then each of the entities, the tier ones, the supplier chains can all access into that to optimize their operations, to have a more holistic approach. We'll see which side wins. I mean, and maybe it'll be a combination of the two on, having sort of the big tech firms that still will have huge amounts of data, and then you have sort of these better open source or better access to data or models. And it'll be super interesting to see how that evolves, especially as you have your own agent that's interacting with those data sets and figuring out what should I do for you.
It's interesting you bring up the security. People kind of push that to the side. I have always thought the same thing. Everybody screams about security and privacy in the beginning, but then it's like, oh, but it does all this for me. Well, I'm not really that concerned about security and privacy if it's going to do everything for me. It's kind of like you watch YouTube and you get the commercials that are, oh, this is because I clicked on something on the internet, and so I'm getting a tailored commercial for me now that's meeting some of those needs. But what's the alternative? Just generic stuff that you get?
Right.
I mean, as soon as I thought that, as soon as it clicked for me going, oh, well, no shit, it's going to show me what I want. It's something I'm into, something that I like. Now, I still can't figure out why I keep getting dog food commercials because I don't own a dog, nor do I care about the food. But
one of the kids is searching for a dog, and it's on your IP address.
Someone in the house.
A year from now, we'll be like, I got a damn dog. AI convinced me to get a dog.
And I know how to feed it well.
Yes.
But it's just interesting how we just kind of, once it crosses that level, then we go, well, I don't really, if it's going to do all this stuff, I don't care if my phone listens to me now, because now it's giving me it's meeting my needs now. So the privacy just kind of goes, okay, I'm willing to give that up.
Yeah, and I think we're still struggling as a society to figure that one out, that people aren't aware what they're giving up. Similar, people are concerned about AI and AI agents and all these other things. They're still trying to sort of wrap their arms around, my phone is listening to me, and it's providing custom things to me. Am I okay with that? Now we're bringing in AI that's going to represent me online. So, I mean, getting back to that point of how do you, convince the business owner that this isn't something scary. Same thing with the consumer, that it's going to improve their lives. Something that we're all working through.
There are still some technical niches, I think, to help fill that gap. Our previous guest that we had this morning has created this middle layer between the user and the LLM that will, and he has a governance and compliance background. So he's built something that I, as the user, it's kind of like almost like a firewall. It doesn't let PII or things get to the LLM, and so then you start to mitigate some of those fears about intellectual property or private information leaving the tenant. So
that's super cool.
Yeah, technology will find a way.
Yeah.
People can build anything.
All right. Do you think, and I like asking this question, we've asked it already this morning with a couple other guests, but do you think, just in a general sense, we've got automations, we've got agents that are handling some stuff. There's some low line, like automation is handling kind of the repetitive tasks that you don't have to really think about it. It's just more of a do. Do you think AI is going to replace our cognitive abilities as far as our critical thinking? Do you see that replacing it, or do you see it enhancing it?
Yeah, that's a great
There's
question.
No
so there,
right or wrong answer. It's just I'm always interested in what people think about that.
Yeah, I think that latest study out of MIT is telling on if you're just using AI to replace.
I read that too. Yeah,
and that you don't have a foundational layer for whatever the task is or the thing you're doing, then yes, it sort of is showing that it replaces that, and it brings down our capability on critical thinking and problem solving. If you go and use AI AI with a base in your own mind of what that given domain of expertise is in computer science or business or marketing or whatever it might be, then it becomes a tool that enhances and empowers you to be better. And it becomes more of a co-pilot to you that can help you along the way. But that once you start tending in of you're not continuous learning yourself and you're just leaning on the AI, then you get into a gray area of I'm not actually improving myself and now I rely on the AI more. So I think it really drives towards we need better education on AI, what you need to be doing. And then what we're seeing in the school systems at the high school and collegiate level is them struggling with this problem of, do I not allow them to use AI? Do we encourage them to use AI? They're going to be utilizing it in their work life. Shouldn't we be coaching them, hey, you're going to go use it? And similar that technology finds a way, humans find a way that you tell me that I can't use this tool that goes and automates these things for me.
Right.
Okay, let me find some way to get around that. I'll go use an AI with an AI agent and I'll put a workflow into Make and I'll go and make this so that nothing gets stored off. So I think encouraging individuals, just like we did with computers and calculators and books and television, every new technology that's come out is a concerning thing to the society. And then we work towards embracing it. So how do we go and help the individuals that are in the very early stages of education and problem solving and critical thinking, develop those skills, but also know that this AI is going to be there to go help them to create those cohesive patterns, as opposed to don't go use it, just don't think it exists or prohibit it, which then creates other issues, which has been shown time and time again. But yeah, if you just go and start leaning on the AI and you don't go and build a foundation yourself, the studies have shown that it's going to hurt you cognitively for sure.
Which will be interesting fast forwarding like 50 years from now to where we're at, because the debate has always been, well, Americans are getting fatter because we're not walking or doing anything because we have cars now. We're not hunter-gatherers. I mean, just the evolution of it, of how it goes. But okay, who's going to give up their car and just go walk to work or bike to work? Yeah. And then when you're 30 miles away from
Wall-E,
your job.
the movie Wall-E.
Yeah, exactly.
I do need to give you credit, Drew, because you bring this up a fair amount, this idea of what are the effects of reducing cognitive load with these tools. And we actually debated on a previous episode, and I pushed back on you. Mm-hmm. And now there are more studies that are coming out that are backing up your fear. So I've been thinking about it a lot recently. And I have an analogy, and this is where I can see this possibly going. So you send astronauts to the space station. They're up there for 3, 4, 5, 6 months or whatever. They start to lose bone mass. But they have like rigs up there where they can exercise, right? So they can maintain their physical abilities. I think that we'll have, where I would like to see it go is, okay, if we're fearful of people losing critical thinking skills, then why wouldn't we have a workout routine for your brain on critical thinking skills? You can make it a game, you could make it fun, but because we're not using our brain to do certain things, now I've got this thing over here, just like I go to the gym for my physical health, I'm going to go to the mental gym for that. And maybe it
Wordle.
is games. Wordle.
It's Wordle.
Maybe it is. But I think you have to think about like just like a supplement. You're replacing a deficiency. And I think that's where I can see it going.
I totally agree. And I think that's a great analogy. And I think that goes to that point of education, teaching you how to teach yourself and be continuously learning. Because the second you stop, then you run into these scenarios where it's the same thing of not going to the gym on a routine basis. So great analogy. I'm going to steal that one.
I have it in my brain because I was listening to a podcast on the way in here this morning before I got in my car and talked to my ChatGPT for 25 minutes. But there is an AI agent on the Chinese space station right now that helps them with strategic planning. It helps them, like, does a little bit of counseling. I don't know if they call it Amber or not, but so there's a freaking agent in space now, which is crazy to think about.
Well, wait till President AI takes over.
Yeah.
All right, we got to wrap this up. I know you don't like wrapping up, but it goes by so quick. Devon, really appreciate you being on as a guest on our show. Love talking to you about this. This is something that obviously is passionate to all of us, obviously, in this. Tell our viewers where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on at Devon Bleibtrey on X, on LinkedIn, and then Fetch.ai. You can find us in the company as well as all of our products. And I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a blast and fantastic convo.
Thanks for coming on.
Awesome. We'll probably have you on in the future too, because as radical changes as this stuff makes,
Would love it.
Yeah, I'm sure 3 weeks from now it'll be completely different discussion. So thanks, man. If you like the episode, like and subscribe or leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks, everybody.